Someone says something small to you, maybe a passing comment, maybe a joke that wasn't even directed at you, maybe just a tone in someone's voice that shifted slightly, and everyone around you moves on immediately. But you're still thinking about it 3 days later, replaying it, analyzing it, wondering what it meant, wondering if you overreacted, wondering why you can't just let it go like everyone else seems to. If that sounds familiar, this video is going to explain exactly why that keeps happening to you, and more importantly, why it's not the flaw you've been told it is. Most people assume that feeling everything too deeply is a sensitivity problem, that if you just toughened up, built thicker skin, stopped caring so much, you'd finally be okay. That's the common assumption, and it's completely wrong. Because in 1996, psychologist Dr. Elaine Aron at Stony Brook University discovered something that changed how we understand roughly 1 in 5 people on this planet. She identified a biological trait called sensory processing sensitivity. And what she found was that people who feel everything deeply aren't emotionally weak. Their brains are literally wired differently, showing heightened awareness to subtle stimuli, processing information more thoroughly, and being more reactive to both positive and negative experiences. This isn't a personality quirk. This isn't childhood trauma. This isn't something therapy fixes. It's a natural personality trait that appears across different cultures and is even present in various animal species, which tells us something critical. Sensitivity is not a weakness of modern life. It is part of nature, an evolutionary strategy. And according to research, approximately 20% of the population, that's 1 in 5 people, has a sensitive nervous system. So if you've spent years thinking something was wrong with you, you weren't broken. You were just never given the right explanation for how you work. Here's what's actually happening inside your brain, and this is where it gets genuinely fascinating. Think of the average person's brain like a sorting machine that separates information into 2 categories: important and not important. Everything gets processed quickly, filtered fast, and moved on from. Now imagine a machine that sorts everything into 10 categories instead of 2. More detail, more nuance, more connections being made between what's happening right now and everything that's ever happened before. That's your brain. And this has one enormous advantage that almost nobody talks about. Research confirms that highly sensitive people demonstrate greater empathy, deeper creativity, higher conscientiousness, and a richer and more complex inner life than the general population. In human terms, when you're in a conversation with someone, you're picking up things nobody else in the room notices. The slight hesitation before they answered, the way their energy changed when a certain topic came up, the thing they almost said but didn't. This is why highly sensitive people tend to form the deepest relationships. Not because they try harder, but because they genuinely perceive more of another person than most people are capable of perceiving. You don't just hear what someone says, you feel what they mean. That is a profound human advantage. But here's where the same mechanism turns against you. Because the same sensitivity that gives you depth also makes you differentially susceptible, more negatively affected by harsh, chaotic, or stressful environments than people without this trait. Your brain that notices everything, including every possible way a situation could go wrong, every subtle shift in someone's mood, every worst-case scenario your mind can construct at 2 a.m. Research published in scientific reports found that highly sensitive people feel significantly more emotional loneliness than the general population, not because they lack connection, but because they feel the absence of deep connection more acutely than others do. A peer-reviewed study found that highly sensitive people showed significant relationships with both anxiety and depression, with abnormal anxiety levels appearing in nearly 30% of HSPs studied. So the same brain that makes you the most emotionally intelligent person in the room is also the brain that lies awake at night replaying conversations that everyone else forgot by lunchtime. One trait, two completely opposite outcomes, depending entirely on one thing, which we'll get to in a moment. Here's the thing nobody tells you about having a sensitive brain. You cannot turn it off, and you are never supposed to. Every piece of advice you've ever received about this, stop overthinking, don't care so much, toughen up, was advice built for a brain that isn't yours. You were trying to install software designed for a different operating system. The same sensitivity that makes highly sensitive people more vulnerable to stress also makes them more responsive to healing, more positively affected by supportive environments than the average person. Read that again slowly. You are not just more affected by bad things. You are more affected by good things, too. More moved by beauty. More energized by genuine connection. More transformed by the right environment than someone with a less sensitive system could ever be. The shift isn't learning to feel less. The shift is understanding that your brain is a high-performance instrument, and high-performance instruments require specific conditions to perform at their best. A Formula One car doesn't perform well on a dirt road. That's not the car's failure. That's a conditions problem. When you stop trying to become less sensitive and start designing your environment, your relationships, and your daily inputs around the way your brain actually works, something changes. The same depth that was drowning you becomes the thing that sets you apart. The conversations you have become the ones people remember for years. The work you produce carries a weight that most people can't manufacture, no matter how hard they try. The relationships you build go deeper than most people ever experience in a lifetime. Not in spite of feeling everything, because of it. The next time you're still thinking about something 3 days after everyone else moved on, remember this. Your brain isn't malfunctioning. It's doing exactly what it was built to do. Processing deeper, feeling more, noticing what others miss. The only question worth asking isn't, why do I feel so much? It's, am I giving this brain the right conditions to work for me instead of against me? That's the whole game.